Bulgaria. My name's Frankie Rudland and I'll be talking you through all the action, but first, the national anthems.
And now, please rise for the national anthem of Bulgaria. Escuchamos respetuosamente el himno nacional de Bulgaria.
Oman may have passed on the hosting baton to Mexico, but they'll be less keen to relinquish their title. The Omanis were last year's surprise package, but how they fare in Cancun will be a good barometer as to how good they truly are. As for Bulgaria, they couldn't escape a tricky Group B containing Serbia and Germany last year. They'll be looking to right that wrong this time around. Joining me on commentary duties is Rob Burke, and Rob, Group C is a group that looks wide open, isn't it?
Yeah, it is indeed. It's a lovely morning here in Cancun, and I'm pretty excited to see what these two sides have in store. We've spoken a lot about how a couple of additional players can really turn your fortunes around, and Oman were a great example of that. They've been around for a long time, but they've really kicked on recently. I've been mightily impressed with the performances I've seen. And as for Bulgaria, well, look, if they can add those few special players in the team, you never know what you're going to get. So, big game for them to start the day, to start the tournament for the teams, and I'm pretty excited to watch it.
As you mentioned, there have been a couple of changes from the side that touched silverware last year in Muscat. But Hajjaj most notably comes back into the fold for them. Muatsim Al-Shamsi is meant to be in Cancun, though we haven't quite seen him yet. Of course, last year's MVP at the tournament and a fine player he was. Oman, Rob, were one of only 4 sides to win every single group match last year, which is some going.
It's really I love when you don't really expect. You kind of research and you've got a little bit of a feel, and then they turn up and they blow you away, and that's exactly the experience I had. And they're just fantastic. It's the movement. They've just got great defenders as well. I just like every element of their team, and I think the most important thing for me is that they're entertaining to watch. That's the really big thing for me. They're effective. They get results, but they do it in an attractive way.
And talking of players that are exciting, number 23, Mahmoud Al-Balushi, named the rising star in Oman. Very fine, tricky operator he is. Just moments away from getting started now, and it's Oman who will begin proceedings here on a nice cool morning in Cancun. Sun hasn't yet poked its head above the clouds, and I'm sure Bulgaria in particular will be grateful. Omanis, of course, used to playing in sweltering conditions.
Yeah, that's a big part of yesterday. I think some of the teams handled the weather just a little bit better than others. It was sweltering.
Spazov lets one rip early doors. Comfortable for El Riccardi. First few touches for that man. Al-Balushi wearing the skipper's armband. Looks like the ball had just trickled over that white line. There'll be a corner kick for Bulgaria early doors.
Bit of a mistake there, I think. I think the keeper's taken a touch outside his area.
So, in fact, wasn't a corner instead of free kick.
Not sure they're even 100% sure what is going on. It could be a corner, but I'm pretty sure the keeper's just taking it ever so slightly outside his area, and we'll have a set piece from, well, it's a short corner.
Right, you are. I think it was the pass back rule. He can only receive a pass back from his defender if he's inside his area, which he clearly wasn't. So it'll be a set piece which Petrov will stand over. Oman stuff their own area. Bulgaria queue up on the edge. Knocked back, and there's a toe in there. And Oman could break. Shut down nicely. Players scrabble around, and Petrov comes away with it. Forced backwards. Calm play from Bulgaria. Who didn't quite impress in Oman last year, but in fairness, as I mentioned, they had Serbia and Germany for company. A tough group, and one that you say on paper is a little more forgiving this time around.
Yeah, tough, always tough when your group is just, you can't predict results in soccer. We're starting to learn quite quickly that you can kind of see who are the favourites from the group, and there's no doubt about it, their group was tough. And to be honest, their opening game is pretty tough as well. Like I say, Oman certainly establishing themselves, should I say, on this world scene.
Alexov. Bulgaria looking after the ball nicely. No real slips or slides just yet, and that's excellent footwork and a sliding challenge, which will be punished, but is the decision in or outside the area?
Beautiful footwork there just to create the chance. The angle was tight and he just shifted his weight. And really, he's got more than he bargained for, because he moved it so well, and it would have been a kick-in. They're appealing here that they want the video assistant referee to check something, but as it stands, it's a penalty.
It's a soccer penalty. Al-Balushi, the offender, who was adjudged to have slid inside the box to stop Dejan Alexov. After, as you rightly say, Rob, some very neat footwork indeed, and it will be Alexov who will take the soccer penalty as long as our VAR officials clear it. .4 minutes on the clock. Bulgaria with an opportunity to take the lead, one they might not have expected so early. Here comes Alexov, stands up the keeper, goes round him, slots it in with aplomb. Dejan Alexov gives Bulgaria lift-off. Last year's champion stunned as Bulgaria fly out of the blocks.
Yeah, really nice. Look, there's a lot of ways you can approach soccer penalties. I prefer the cool, calm approach. Sit the keeper down and slot it home. We saw how not to take a soccer penalty last night. If you want to know, that's exactly how. Really good footwork again. Sat the keeper down and slotted it home. Can't ask for much more.
Well, it had shades of Milizia's effort for Argentina, didn't it? Did similar. Just sat the keeper down, ball roll, and slides it into an empty net. They look simple, but so many players lose their nerve. Here comes Albalushi looking for an instant response, but he's swarmed by green shirts.
And soccer penalties is just one of those things. They look easy when they go in, and then all of a sudden some players kind of make it look impossible to score.
Well, those keepers, they close the angle so quickly, don't they?
Yeah, it's certainly an art, especially for the keepers. They can just make themselves so imposing. It's down to the players to, like you say, keep their nerve and just caress one home.
20-year-old Alexov showed composure beyond his years there to put Bulgaria in the ascendancy after just 4 minutes. First loose pass from the Bulgarians, who have been punch perfect in these opening exchanges.
It's always interesting to see how the teams start, isn't it? It's early in the tournament. The body clocks perhaps aren't in sync with local time. It's an 8 a.m. kickoff here. You just don't really know what kind of sleep the players have gotten since their arrival. But pretty impressive both sides start. Bulgaria certainly got their foot on the ball in the last few minutes. Oman, they've started strong, so should be a decent game.
Most importantly, Bulgaria have managed to keep their footing. We've seen plenty of slips and slides so far.
Yeah,
Not quite sure whether it's rained or there's just a bit of dew on the pitch.
Yeah.
But there was certainly a bit of slick on our seats this morning, was it, when we took our position up in the commentary tower.
Yeah, I spoke to some of the coaches and players from the Netherlands who played yesterday evening, and it hadn't rained in the evening. It had been glorious sunshine all day, but they said we're struggling with the pitch a little bit. It is a little bit different this time around, and I said, look, the teams that adapt quickest will have that little advantage.
Oman with a kick in just inside Bulgarian territory. Not yet clicked into gear, the reigning champions. Still plenty of time though, of course. In these soccer games, the momentum can shift quickly. Here's Albalushi, their star man. Closed down quickly by Alexov, who's playing his part, both sectors of the field.
Yeah, Oman will be hoping they can settle down a little bit now, get their foot on the ball. You know, they back themselves to score, and usually they keep it pretty tight.
Here's Alexov looking to work it onto that left boot. Guarded well, Albalushi. Bulgaria nick it. And it looked for a moment as if Petrov could be away, but a loose touch let him down. But just look how they press the keeper. They are well up for this one, the Bulgarians.
Yeah, they are. They really are. Not intimidated, which is the important part. I think sometimes teams in their opening games can be a little bit tentative, not shooting when they should shoot, or just sliding in, making little mistakes. But Bulgaria, they've started pretty hot.
Paying no respect, are they, to the Omanis? And there's Alexov looking to latch onto it and spin down the touchline. This time can't weave his magic. Another ball change.
They can't afford to be switching out too many balls. Apparently they lost 6 yesterday morning. There's only a finite number of them here in Cancun.
And several of them ended up in crocodile territory.
They did indeed.
Wouldn't like to be the ball boy nominated to go and fetch them as Albalushi spins on a swivel, lets off a low effort. It's comfortable, however, for Milicev. In fact, it's Ivanov between the sticks for Bulgaria. Couple of neat touches inside. Alexov, the goal scorer. Spazov. Here he is again, the number 7. Low fizzing cross, palmed away by Arakadi, but Bulgaria in there to steal it back. Alexov, excellent footwork once again, this time. Just ventured out of bounds. He looks sharp though, doesn't he?
Yeah, Alexov is the man. He's just so smooth with it, and it wasn't far off staying in there either. Just a man ball watching a little bit, I think. Like, the play seems to just be passing them by when Bulgaria are in possession, which isn't like them. They're normally happy to get a foot in and win it back rather quickly. Just haven't quite clicked in these opening 10 or so minutes.
Another loose touch. Let's Bulgaria steal in. Cut back to Spazov, who might let one rip. Got the technique all wrong, and there could be a chance for Oman to get numbers over, but that's really poor between two Omanis who were not on the same frequency, and it allowed Alexov the chance to shoot. Wide of the target, but another good sighter for a man who clearly possesses a goal threat.
Getting shots away, that's the important part. Test the goalkeeper. They're one ahead, they don't need to take risks. But a one-goal lead is a dodgy one in soccer.
Another loose touch from Al-Yassadi. Uncharacteristically sloppy thus far from Oman, who was so technically sound at last year's tournament.
Yeah, better though, they're trying to win the ball back. They were quick, they committed men. They've got possession, that's what I need to see from them. A little bit more energy, a little bit more movement off the ball as well. The options just aren't really coming.
And that's a neat passage of play. Now space for a shot. And it's not a bad one from Al-Rahawi.
No, it's a good effort. He had options though, that's the problem. He bit at that chance.
Flashed one towards that far post. Good yard or so wide. Vivanav's goal. Lofted forward. Does Oman head under it? Good defending this time from the Omanis, but it's a short back pass. And almost one that's pounced upon, and this one will be. Draws a save from Arakadi. Oman living dangerously once more.
They're causing themselves the issues, that's the problem. Just the passing options are just so tight, and you've got to get it 100% right or you're in a world of trouble. And on a couple of occasions there, they were skating on thin ice. Look where it got them.
Doesn't look too comfortable at the minute, does he, Al-Rakadi? Nor would I be if I received a very short back pass indeed.
And that's the thing, it's not the touch, is it? It's the pass that they receive, putting them in the danger.
You do have to tip your cap to Bulgaria's press, though, which has been ferocious in these opening 12 minutes or so. They've not left a loose pass unchased. Al-Balushi. Here he is again, the skipper, dropping deep. Looking to conduct things. Once again, though, breaks down. It's Spazov who looks to come forward. Watched all the way by Al-Arami. A snapshot for Oman, but no real opening yet.
No, nothing clear-cut yet is the key word, I think, because, as you mentioned, they haven't quite settled, and they do back themselves to score goals. I think I always praise their defensive capabilities, but look, with the players they've got, they're always keen to find a route to goal as soon as possible. They're much more comfortable when they're not behind.
Al-Arami is Al-Balushi. Just looking to snap into that groove that they had last year. Stroke the ball around so nicely on their home turf. Just trying to find their footing here in Cancun on familiar surroundings.
This is more like it though. They're zipping the ball that little bit quicker. First time passes, bit of energy, a lot of movement.
Al-Balushi down the touchline. Arahawi. Here he is again. In passages of play, you can see why they were world champions last year. The movement, as you say, and that's a neat pass out to the right-hand side. Final ball wanting, but better from Oman, who are beginning to stroke things around. Pounce on a loose touch there. Excellent footwork from Al-Batashi.
Much better, much quicker, more options, and almost the pace of the passing and the one-touch pass, and almost got the players moving. It was almost as if they just thought, right, if you're not going to get there, you're not going to get there, but we're going to start moving this quicker, and it's much better in the last minute or so. And if that previous passage of play ended in a goal, we'd be looking at one of the goals of the tournament. I think it was 30-odd passes in there, so much better.
You don't usually see total football goals in soccer, do you, where every single team member touches the ball. Such is the speed and the nature of the game. 15 minutes on the dial. Bulgaria still a goal to the good, courtesy of Dejan Alexov's soccer penalty. But Oman slowly growing into this one.
Yeah, Bulgaria sitting a little bit deeper, but it's interesting because it's Oman who forced them back. It's not as if they've decided they're going to protect their lead. That quicker passing has really made Bulgaria sit deeper.
Tomchev nicks it away, cuts inside, laid off to the back post, and it's a really important hand by Al-Rakadi. Fotorov was lurking, and all of a sudden Oman are in. End-to-end stuff here as the encounter begins to open up. And it was Al-Batashi who, after a really smart flick, found himself bearing down on Ivanov's goal. Just poked a toe at it, couldn't get the direction. But my moments earlier, Bulgaria could have doubled their advantage. Alexov flashed one across the face, and there was a really important paw from Al-Rakadi.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
The teams have arrived. That is a massive save because the momentum was ever so slightly shifting in favour of Oman, and if a goal goes in there, it's back to square one for the boys in red. But a big save, an immediate chance for them. And again, now they're going to feel like they're on top in the game. It's a huge save, it really is.
You're absolutely right. Would have knocked the stuffing out of Oman, wouldn't it? Especially just 3.5 minutes or so before the interval.
They've definitely settled down now, Oman. Happy. They're better. They're a better side when they've got possession. It's easy to say that they play better soccer when they're in the lead, but some teams just suit dominating games, and the passing ability of these players suits them. It's just that they're chasing a game now.
Well, they sucked the life out of teams last year, just ticked it around endlessly.
Yeah.
And it's all well and good saying that you can press them, but when you've got so many technical players down there, it's not easy. Find yourself chasing shadows.
And that's what was weird to see. They started a little bit slower, man, so their passing wasn't quite as zippy, wasn't quite as quick, and then the Bulgarian press was getting there. But in the last 5 minutes, they've been quick enough where the Bulgarians, they're not pressing them as anywhere near as much as they did.
No, I think they found that that press might be ineffective should they try and deploy it now that Oman have got their range. A good snapping challenge, though, from Fotorov.
Wow, look at that.
Ginov. To Stefanov, who goes all the way back to his keeper. It's loose from Ivanov. And Al-Balushi can look to start an attack. It's a clever ball inside to Bahiaj, who wasn't in Oman last year. Very fine player, added to a group already littered with quality.
You can see the difference already there. Bulgaria won the ball back deep, and at the start of the game, when they did that, they flooded bodies forward and attacked with real venom, but they won it back, and nobody really made a run forward, and it is.
Oman are in here. Smart stop from Ivanov. One pass just cut through Bulgaria. It was Al Raimi who couldn't get enough of a toe poke on it, but the chance is still there. And the idea was nice. You could see what they wanted to do, just cushion it back into the path of Bahiaj. Slightly too much purchase on it. But you can see how they switch between casual pedestrian passing, and then they see the gap, and it's instant, isn't it?
Yeah, they're on top now as well. There's a long period of this game where I'd imagine they'd want a regroup at half-time just to, I don't know, switch on, I guess, but they've switched on, and they're on top. There's only 1 minute to go. They won't want the half-time whistle to come at this point.
They certainly won't. Couple of good openings now for Oman. Both toe poked rather meekly. But most importantly, the chances are starting to come. Al-Balushi does excellently well with 3 green shirts around him to 1, control it, 2, turn, and 3, draw the foul. And it's a free kick in a dangerous area. We were talking about this yesterday. You don't want a free kick too close to the area because there's just no daylight to see through.
Now, decent position, and just before half-time, a goal now would be massive. They're well on top, they're in control, their passing's been slick. Just haven't had that finishing touch, and look, it's not going to be easy. They're going to need a game plan from this set piece. There's 3 of them there all conversing as to how they're going to do this.
And they sent 2 straight to the back post. And it's Biahiaj strikes, deflected, chance still there. Al-Balushi it was, trying to follow up, scuffs his effort into the turf. And a half-time whistle blows. Bulgaria do safeguard their lead to the break. Dejan Alexov it was, who coolly netted a soccer penalty after Al-Balushi slid in the area. But as we were talking about moments ago, Rob, you'd imagine the Bulgarians would be pleased for that half-time whistle.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Oman grew into the game. We said it a few times. They didn't start as hot as they'd have liked. But as I said, they got the ball moving. They created a couple of chances, and they wouldn't have wanted the half-time whistle at all. But I think the important part from a Bulgarian point of view is they didn't concede the goal. They scored. They played some good stuff in those opening 10 minutes or so. And when they had to defend, they were able to do so. That's a big confidence booster, keeping that clean sheet to the half-time. Reset now and go again for the next 20 minutes.
Also gives the coaches a good chance to analyse what they've seen out there, perhaps tweak that press, which worked so well earlier on in the game, and see if you can start to close down Oman's generals, Al-Araimi and Al-Balushi, who are seeing more of the ball, far more of the ball, in fact, than they did in those opening 5 minutes. Half-time score then, Bulgaria 1, Oman 0. We'll bring you all the action from the second half of our Day 3 opener very shortly. Welcome back then for the second half of our Day 3 opener and the first of the Group C doubleheader. We've got Canada-Haiti coming up, but before that, another 20 minutes between Bulgaria and Oman. Bulgaria go for it straight from the kickoff. Alexov it was who was looking to catch El Riccardi sleeping. Couldn't quite hit the mark. Showing of intent though from Bulgaria, who lost a little bit of control towards the end of that first half. What would your message have been to the men in green at half-time?
Start the second half exactly how you started the game. They were on the attack, on the front foot, not afraid to commit men forward. As I said, they got a little bit hesitant partway through that opening half of soccer, and it didn't suit them at all. They played some really good stuff, so I think more of the same. Just start this half as you did the first.
Well, in Dejan Alexov and Ivalo Tomchev, they've got two very talented operators and a good chance as well. Flashed across the face from a corner. Dilian Petrov arriving. And he'll be annoyed at himself because it's a really good opening. And he could have caught Oman napping early on again.
Yeah, I think for Oman it's important now that they test the keeper. They've got their passing sorted, they've got their run sorted, but they didn't really give their opposite keeper anything to think about, anything to worry about. So I'd like to see more of just getting a couple of shots away and importantly hitting the target. They hooked a few wide in the first half, but those gloves are still looking pretty clean for the number 12. And
those that did find the mark were a bit tepid, weren't they? Toe-poked efforts that didn't really have any venom behind them. As Bahiaj hooks high into the sky, and that's athletically kept in by Al-Battashi.
He's won that well.
Yeah, before the skipper sends someone, Tomachev it is, who is sent tumbling to the turf. Touched dramatically.
Indeed, good position though.
Good position. You'd be looking towards that back post, wouldn't you, and thinking, can you just flash it across the face like they did with that corner? Tomchev goes towards that back post. Two men run over it. It was cut back in the end by Alexov, one off the training ground.
That's a nice idea. He just had a little bit more time than I think he realised. He just got under it, leant back a little bit. But I like it when they've got a bit of an idea from the set piece rather than just smacking it.
You see a lot of teams just go for pure power
just want to
and see what happens. Hope
score.
for a pinball inside the area.
Absolutely.
Al-Balushi. A muted game so far by his standards. Al-Battashi. Oman now starting as they left off, stroking the ball around. After a good spell from Bulgaria to start the half. Adorami, back to Al-Battashi. Smart passing again as they work the ball to the right touchline. Will Al-Rahami. Shepherded well by Petrov, who wins his side a goal kick. And I think that's case in point with Oman. Playing the ball around nicely, but you look towards the penalty area and there wasn't a man there for all the possession.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. That's what I'm saying. They're working it nicely now. If they started the game like this, I'd be like, okay, yeah, this is the Oman I know. Happy days, they've started well. They're not giving me enough in the final third at all. They're not going to get themselves level, let alone win the game with their current output up top.
And that's where you do miss a player like Muatzim El-Shamsi, who scored some really important goals en route to the final, and indeed the winning penalty against Kazakhstan. Spazov drives one in, draws a save from El Riccardi, but he's put his foot over that white line. You would expect that an experienced soccer side like Bulgaria would be hot on those sorts of misdemeanors.
Yeah, mentioned very complimentary at the start of the... Bit of trouble there.
Bit of trouble there as Tomchev almost pinches the ball off Al-Raimi.
Saying very complimentary about the elements of the Omani team. The defence is strong, Keepers look decent. Midfield's fine. It is just that.
Tomchev, beautiful ball across the face of the area. Just cushioned it into the path of Ilyan Ilyev, who went for the header. Don't think we've seen a header scored yet. We still haven't, because that one ended up comfortably wide.
He had a lovely one last night. Scored with a head and assisted by a goalkeeper.
Route 1 at its
That
finest.
is the rootest of ones.
You just look at those two players up top for Bulgaria. Tomchev, number 6, and Alexov, both 20 years old. Both phenomenal technicians. And every time they get on the ball, something looks like it could happen. And perhaps that's what Oman are missing. Alexov now. Can he shift it onto that left foot? Loses possession on this occasion, and Oman will stride forward. First chance, but strike does come in. Al-Wahabi it was. Cross comes shot in the end. Again, not quite the connection, and it really dribbled across the face of goal, didn't it?
It wasn't quite the connection, but much better. They won it in the middle of the park, and importantly, they committed bodies forward. The ball carrier had options to his left, options to his right. He could have gone alone. That's what you want to see.
Al-Balushi looking to charge it down, but Ivanov knew where his lines were. Just waited for it to drop back inside the area before picking it up. But it was quicker from Oman. As you said, more impetus about it. Players flooded forward, didn't allow Bulgaria to get set over after overturning possession.
Yep, they had Bulgaria worried. They broke at pace.
Tomchev goes for the half volley. He was a long way from goal. Didn't quite connect.
Bulgaria need to be careful now.
Feels like they're starting to live off moments, doesn't it?
And they're sitting that little bit deeper. They just got to believe that they're good enough to go forward and get a second, and then when they sit back, they'll be far more comfortable. I think nervousness is going to creep in, because when they sat back in the first half, the closer and closer they got to half-time, the more dodgy they looked at the back.
Belief is the key word, and they are, from what we've seen today, good enough to go toe-to-toe with the Omanis at times. They've got talent in the squad. Ilyev, their player coach, standing up Al-Balushi. Al-Siyabi with some neat footwork. Here's Al-Balushi, flashed a foot across the face of goal, and Ivanov has to steal in to turn it over his own crossbar, and that was a crucial interception.
Yeah.
Because there was a player lurking.
Mentioned there, player lurking, body at the back stick. That's how you're going to score your goal. Very now.
Al-Balushi drives. Ivanov saves. There's a player crumpled in a heap. Perhaps took one straight to the lungs from that effort.
Yeah, that shot had some real sting to it. But it's better. It is very much better from Oman now. You can see they're committing those bodies, and they're in the right position as well. They just didn't do that in the first half. But I think Bulgaria, if they're going to retain this lead, even get another, they need to back themselves. They can't just soak up the pressure.
But they're starting to show their teeth, Oman, aren't they? Stefanov. Nice triangles there from Bulgaria. Back with their stopper, Ivanov. 19 years old, some young players in this Bulgaria setup. Trusted their youngsters. Driven in once again. Stefanov this time. Must have taken a nick on its route through. As Bulgaria have a corner. Alexov stands over it, cuts it back to Spazov. The ball will break. Chance for another shot perhaps. Comes through a sea of bodies. Now Riccardi has to watch it all the way. Loose from Oman as they look to turn things around. Now Rahawi, the man lofting it towards the back post. But they look dangerous from set pieces, Bulgaria, don't they?
They look good when they go forward. I'm really impressed. This is Oman at the end of the day. They're a good side. They look dangerous. And to be fair, we've said, you know, maybe they shouldn't sit as deep, etc. But the clean sheet is still there. So, dream start, really. I do think they're going to need another goal, though.
Well, there's still 10 minutes to play, which is an awfully long time in soccer. Plenty of goals can be scored in that time frame. And it only takes one slip in concentration when you're protecting a lead. And suddenly it's vanished. Al-Balushi. Excellent incisive ball, looking for the feet of Mundir Al-Wahibi. Don't think he expected it to find him. Just slipped under his toes. More incision from Oman, who so far are heading towards defeat on their quest to defend the crown. Currently hold the belt.
Said you can't ask for much more for a debut game for Bulgaria. The draw comes out, you're in a pretty tight group, and you're facing the champions in your opening game.
Another chance for a strike. It's El-Wahibi again. Instead of driving it across the face of the goal, he tries to lash it towards that near top corner. A little bit wild. But no, you're right, if you look at this group, Group C, on paper, before a ball was kicked, you would have said Oman would have been the favourites here. As I mentioned earlier, they won all 4 of their group games, en route to their win in Muscat last year.
Put it this way.
Clever pass down the line. Oman have players in and around. Forced back to Al-Balushi, the skipper. Loose touch from Al-Siabi causes it to break down.
You don't want to finish second in this group because chances are you'll be facing Poland. And if you are new to soccer, that is bad news for anybody with aspirations of going far in the tournament.
And they blew away Latvia yesterday, didn't they? They looked sharp at the World Cup last year. Bit of a surprise when they were knocked out. They mean business here in Cancun. Al-Siabi. Every single Bulgaria player in their own half. Ball just about stays in play. Al-Balushi, can he jink his way down the left-hand touchline? Green shirts moving as a pack. It's clever passing once again. It will break to Al-Balushi. Pass into the touchline, worked into the box. And almost an own goal. Ivanov had to be really on his toes because there was a touch on the way through from Emilian Stefanov. Al-Siabi comes forward, loose. And Ivanov just gestures for his team to calm down. That's what they need to do. Genov striding forward. He's lost possession though. And Oman could have an overload if they work this quickly. Al-Balushi. Stefanov snaps back in and smashes away. Starting to feel a little bit frantic for Bulgaria.
Did so well there, using his body to protect the ball, create the chance, and then just didn't have the pass to match it. It does feel as though they're just missing that element of flair going forward. They haven't quite got the player to string things together. You mentioned earlier, they don't have the player to tuck it home with confidence. They're playing much better, but there's something missing at the moment for Oman.
It's like watching a team of midfielders, isn't it? Who are all beautiful in possession, but
they've always had it. Just wondering where it's gone.
just look at that interchange in the tight spaces from Oman. Spazov clips it forward. Somehow Al-Balushi aware of his surroundings and allows it to roll through to the keeper. And here he is again, Oman's skipper, into Al-Balushi. Laid back, really neat footwork. Smothered by Spazov. It's coming, they're knocking. Al-Wahibi this time. Again, Oman pour forward. And again, It's a wasted opportunity. Al Wahibi, who's been guilty of spurning a few opportunities, played a loose one there. Long strike from Al Balushi, that will never really trouble Borislav Ivanov, who's looked assured between the sticks for Bulgaria.
Got to get your striker in the box there. The ball, regardless of how it got there, fizzed across the face of it. All it needed was a keen striker to tap it home, and they're level. Just don't have anyone with that instinct for a goal, it seems, at the moment. And look, it's the opening game. I'm sure they'll grow into the competition. But as I said, in this group, you need to top it. You need to come top of Group C.
Well, of course, with only 3 games to do it, instead of the 4 last year, you're into the jeopardy straight away. Al Balushi. Out to Al Wahibi. Breaks down again, and Petrov will stride clear. There's no one really with him, but he's going to try and charge all the way. Would have taken some doing. Al Rakadi chips towards Al Balushi. Controls it well on the left boot. But he's policed equally well by Ilyan Iliev. Four minutes left on the clock. Bulgaria clinging on. Her anxiety levels peaking. Oman almost worked their way into the penalty area once again with some beautiful interplay. Chance on the break perhaps for Bulgaria. And that's certainly a sliding tackle from Petrov, who raises his right hand in appreciation. They've been so close on multiple occasions with that incisive, low-driven ball. It was Al Wahibi who was lurking on that occasion.
Importantly, though, the defenders stayed switched on. That's exactly the kind of chance that happens if you just drift off for a second. All of a sudden, your striker's through.
They lull you into this false sense of security, Oman, don't they? And then as soon as they see that opening, that corridor, 2 slips. A free kick given towards Bulgaria.
They've managed the game really well. They've got their goal, Bulgaria. They're up against a tough opponent. And they've actually defended really well. They've got a few chances. I always think they are better on the attack, though. They look dangerous. As much as I said, the keeper hasn't really been tested, you're just a bit nervous for them, aren't you?
Spazov trying to open up his legs, but he runs out of pitch.
This would be a big result, mind.
Be a huge result on opening day for, well, their opening game rather than opening day of the tournament for Bulgaria, who find themselves in a group with Canada and Haiti, 2 teams they feel they might be capable of picking up points of.
Penny for the thoughts of the coaches of the other 2 teams in this group. I'm not sure they quite predicted this one either.
Now Balushi couldn't quite keep the ball in. Bulgaria awarded a kick in, which they play straight out of play, and that was a bizarre one because Ivanov felt like he could have got there, but chose not to, and it's a corner for Oman. Partially cleared, but still here with the skipper Samar Al Balushi. Here's our other Al Balushi, jinks away from his man and draws the foul. A loose, dangling leg from Dejan Alexov, who tucked away that soccer penalty in the first half. And they need to get players in and around that goal now, Oman, don't they?
Now or never, really. There's just over a minute to go. Look, as much as goal difference is going to matter, I think the points are going to matter far, far more in this group. What have they got for us?
Work down the line. Again, the low ball comes in. Yet again, it's cleared. Yulian Spazov, the man in front of it this time, and Spazov again aware enough to let it run through for a goal kick, which you'd imagine Borislav Ivanov will take his sweet time over.
Good awareness
forward,
that was.
Nodded back across. I'll tell you what, Dejan Alexov wasn't far off. Last chance saloon then for Oman. Again, Bulgaria stand tall. to clip it into the left-hand channel. Runs slightly too long. And they'll charge back into shape because they've got all of 10 seconds to defend their lead. Alexov couldn't quite keep hold of it as his pocket picked by Al-Balushi, and this really is the final roll of the dice for Oman. Smashed towards that back post. Al-Siabi was there. Regulation time up. Last attack, you feel. Al-Wahibi. Al-Balushi, loose touch. And once Bulgaria have taken this, you feel that should be that. Just have to get this as far up the field as they can. Lofted forward. Al-Rakadi rises. Still there's time for one more Oman attack.
This is it.
Al-Balushi to his namesake. Work towards that back post. And that is a crucial interception. Once again from Petrov to stab it behind for a corner. Outstretched toe potentially saving his side. Breaks loose. And there is the full-time whistle. And there's the roar from Bulgaria. They've beaten the reigning champions in their first game of the tournament, courtesy of an excellently taken penalty from Dejan Alexov. Day 3 starts with an upset.
What a performance from Bulgaria. I was nervous for them sitting here, just thinking, God, get out. Wow, fair play. Look, Oman grew into the game. They did some nice things. There's a lot of positives to take, but they'll be bitterly disappointed with that start. Bulgaria, though, they got their goal and somehow just held out. You don't see it very often, 1-0 in a game of soccer, especially when the goal comes so early. But Group C is alive and kicking.
They had to stay so switched on, Bulgaria, through the entirety of that contest, didn't they? Because as soon as Oman started stroking the ball around, they were just mesmerising. They were good in possession. That's the thing. It wasn't a duff performance from the Omanis. They knocked it around ever so nicely, and there were times when they went for that incisive pass and Bulgaria had to stay switched on, but toothless was the word really for Oman, who couldn't quite turn their possession into goals. And it's Bulgaria's day. But stick with us because we are staying in Group C. Our next clash of the day takes us to Canada versus Haiti. We'll be bringing you every kick of the ball very shortly.